Wisp Sports Radio, the voice of women in sport.
Thank you for downloading The Horse Show here on Wisp Sports. This is Season 4, Episode 27, and I'm Chris Stafford. My guest this week is US Eventer Colleen Rutledge, who just this past weekend won the Plantation Fields CCI4 Star Short on her long-term partner, the 13-year-old Covert Rights. And it was a significant win for Colleen, who has considered this year to be, a transformational year for the partnership. And the last 3 outings, they've put themselves in the top 3 after a bit of a sticky start coming back from injuries. So this win means a great deal to her, and I caught up with her at home to talk about her partnership with CR and how they've found their form again, and also what's next for him. Well, Colleen, great to catch up with you again. Thank you for joining me, and a huge congratulations.
Thank you so much. Wonderful to be here.
Well, this must put you on a high because you've had a little journey back with the boy, your partner of many years now, that you've got to this point where he just did it all for you on the day. How does that feel?
It's virtually indescribable. I am so pleased in so many different ways. And, like our dressage was good, but can be better. And our show jumping was good, but can be better. And then our cross country was good, but can be better. And he felt so full of himself and so truly himself that, it just puts a smile on my face no matter what, because he was with me and he was playing the game with me the entire time. And that's what I do this sport for, is to play the game with my pony.
Yeah, and you did that, and you had a very easy weekend from what I read. You just had a couple of ponies there, and you were able to do everything yourself.
I had just him and my little 7-year-old, and I was there by myself for the majority of the week, and the family did come up on Saturday to lend me a hand and make sure that I didn't do something incredibly dumb. But, it was quite a restful weekend. I only had 2 horses. It almost seemed like a vacation. And, I get to spend good quality time with 2 ponies that I absolutely adore.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit more about his performance then. You said there's more to come with that dressage. At 26:30, well, that's not too shabby when you get in the 20s.
No, and honestly, this is going to sound a little horrible. It's where I expect him to be. He's 13. He's quite experienced. But I know there's more brilliance in there. We lost a lot of points in the canter. He got a little bit flat and lost a little bit of his true cadence that he has. His trot work is always quite good, but I did rush him through one of the half passes, so it looked a little bit stilted. And then his walk, while it's a grand improvement from what we've had in the past, it's still not as good as it could be. So, I mean, it's all 3 gates I can gain points in. And, at this point, when you can gain half points, it makes a huge difference.
And as I said before, you are coming back, from an injury with him. So it is this year has been transformational, I guess, for him.
We started this year with a fresh set of eyes. I brought some fresh people in, and people that I've worked with in the past that haven't been involved recently, just simply so that I wasn't getting complacent and that we weren't attributing things to, that's just how he goes. So it's been really fantastic. And, the couple of injuries, I know that when my horse is at 100%, he is absolutely one of the most top class horses that I've sat on. And he loves his job and he loves what he does and he loves to perform. So it makes me incredibly happy to have him feeling as grand as he is right now.
So you must be happy with his level of fitness then. You were one of only 3 inside the time on Mike's course. Talk about your impressions of that track and how you were feeling before you set out on it. Were you feeling you got that fitness and that confidence with him to really go out and attack it?
Well, he's such a deceivingly big-strided horse, so it makes him quite quick across the ground. And you watch him go, and it doesn't look like he's going that fast, but he really is covering the ground. I was truly hoping that we had that level of fitness. I didn't go to say, oh, I'm definitely going to make the time. I went to see where our fitness truly was, because it was quite a bit of terrain and it was quite a bit of uphill at the very end of the course. And I was interested to see how much horse I really had left to go up those last hills. And I had quite a bit of horse left, which I actually ended up slowing down the last few fences because he was just getting bolder and bolder, and I didn't want to make a very dumb mistake at the end of the course and have an issue. So he was incredibly willing to keep going and was a little bit miffed with me that I said that we needed to slow down. So, and then he went through the finish flags and was like, nope, when we keep going. And so he really wanted to actually continue going, which, I'm just absolutely thrilled about, especially because yesterday was quite warm. We had a fantastic breeze, but it was quite warm. And I was, wondering how he was going to handle the heat because we'd had a couple of very cool days. And I know that when I go from cool to warm, I'm affected. And I haven't taken off his delightfully furry coat that's already coming in because I want to be able to hold that in reserve for when I need every ounce of everything that he's got left.
Well, you've been doing the short format this year. Was that because it was part of your transitional year for him then, to building back up again for the spring season?
Yes. Because we had some of our issues last year, we actually were no longer qualified to do Kentucky. We needed to be able to do a 4-star short before Kentucky. And Jersey did not go to plan. We were an absolute lumberjack and crazed. And that was probably the best thing that I could have had happen. And it sounds very strange, but it forced me to step back and really evaluate how things were going and what was going on and what I really needed to fix. And it caused me to change my mindset of, rather than worrying about what was going to happen, I needed to worry about how it was going to happen. And if he still pulled rails because I put him in a better shape at the fence, that wasn't my fault. And I look at Jersey as my fault because I allowed him to take over and I allowed him to do what he wanted to do rather than what I knew he should be doing. So as much as Jersey hurt and made it so that I couldn't do, I couldn't do the plan that I had originally had in place, it actually forced me to really change my mindset, which is a blessing.
Yeah, and I think that's probably indicative of the sport then, isn't it, Colleen? And you're so experienced at this now, you probably saw that as, okay, a wake-up call. Got to revisit how we do things here. I mean, to come away with the kind of day you had at Jersey Fresh, unsatisfying for you, but it must have taught you quite a bit of where you needed to turn now.
Absolutely. It definitely forced me to reevaluate not just how he was going, but how my approach to him was going. Right. And it really, those moments don't happen very often, but when they happen, they are absolutely just transforming. And I would have to say that was an absolutely pivotal moment. As successful as he's been in the past, that was a truly pivotal moment because it forced me to sit down and actually dissect everything that I do that then forces him to do something, or what he does to force me to do something. And it's made just a world of difference.
Yeah, because I imagine that, as I said, it's a wake-up call because you've been partners for so long. When you've got a solid partnership with your horse, you think you're pressing all the right buttons, and then something like this happens. That's horses, isn't it?
Absolutely. As much as they lift you up and make you float on clouds, they can also absolutely dig you a hole and poo right in it. And it's exactly what it is. I mean, this is the most humbling sport because you can be absolutely on top of the world, and then the next weekend, get your face rubbed in the dirt by a baby. And it really does serve to keep you humble. Like I take every moment that I get as a gift, because when you start taking them for granted, you lose track of where you're at. And then you forget that this is actually a game, and this is fun. And if it's not fun, why are we doing it?
Why are we doing it? Absolutely. Well, you did turn things around, got in top 3 placings then with your previous 3 outings with him. That was a good run at Great Meadows for you, building up to Plantation. So what are the lessons that you've learnt with him then over these last 4 outings?
Pretty much over the last 4 outings is that I need to actually let him do his job when he understands it, but I also need to be quick enough to identify when he loses a little bit of confidence or when he's trying to revert back to doing bad things. So it's a very watchful eye in the where am I at, where is he at, where is his mind at. On cross country, for the most part, he is so good and so solid, but it's also a little bit because I stopped taking for granted that he was going to jump the fence, and I insist that we jump. So it's like that across the board. Is I've stopped taking it for granted that it's going to pop up in front of me, and I've started being a much more proactive rider rather than just simply a reactive rider.
So I was going to ask you that because we talk about the partnership with the horse, because each horse teaches you something and each competition teaches you something. But what do you think he has taught you as a rider over time, and especially this season, Colleen?
Oh, the list of things he's taught me just goes on and on. Honestly, one of the best things that he's taught me is that it can be fixed. It can be fixed. No matter how bad I think something is, it can be fixed. And not only that, but there's always something positive to look for. Even when absolutely everything is falling down around your ears, there is always something positive to look for and to work for. It's the first time the horse ever went lame on me was at Kentucky in the year of an Olympic year. Mm-hmm. First time he'd ever gone lame on me. And I had never even considered that he'd go lame. And then we've had lots of little niggling things that have happened here and there. But it really and truly, he's taught me that seeing that face over the stall is what makes my day happy. And that to enjoy the moments when I have them, because they don't always come. So, that was one of the things is I got to take a breath this weekend and enjoy the moments. Enjoy when my youngster ran around and felt fantastic and overjumped things. Enjoy when I got to go out on cross country on CR and he felt like his real self, not the one that was doing it because I was asking him to, but the one that was doing it because he loves it. And it just puts a smile on my face every single day. And, to enjoy being able to go across the diagonal and ask for an extended trot makes everybody happy, not just me. It's those little bits and pieces of being able to take a moment, even when I'm in the middle of doing something, and just take a snapshot and enjoy that single moment of this is why I do it, because it's that's going to sustain me when everything is dark and everything is going poorly.
Well, now you can look at his form book for the year and you can truly say you're setting the record straight. So what's the direction now for him?
He's got Morven in 2 weeks, and then he's going to go to Fairhill. And honestly, all I want for that is I want to simply ride the best that I can ride on all 3 days. And whether that puts us at the top, fantastic. Whether that puts us wherever it puts us, if I ride to the best of my ability and he shows up and he plays the game with me, I'm going to have to be happy with it. I want to go back to Kentucky next year, and then the plans diverge at that point, and it all depends on how and where things go from there. And, I'd love to take a trip overseas, either west or east. So, at this point, it's not my driving force, but it definitely, I always have plan A, plan B, plan C generally, and most times I tend to get down into double letters. So I love my contingency plans. But at this point, the way that he's feeling, we take each week a step at a time and see where we go.
Well, that's a very sensible plan. Now, how many horses are you riding a day, Colleen? Now, how would you gauge your level of fitness at this point in your career, and what you have in the barn, and what your schedule is with the other horses? Just put your career in context.
I've got anywhere between 12 and 14 horses that I'm riding. I try to get to them every single day, but because I'm on my own right now, with a little bit of help from my mom, my kids are back in school, so I don't have my indentured servants anymore. But I can generally get to anywhere between 8 and 12 comfortably. If I really push it, I can get to all 14. Some of them are very babies. I've got a couple of 4-year-olds that actually my eldest daughter is helping to keep ridden. And then I've got a few 5-year-olds that one of which is performing and the other 2 are just learning the ropes. I've got a few horses that are rehabbing. So, I'm getting on that many horses, but not all of them are the intense, focused, competition-ready rides. Some of them are literally just walk, trot, canter, make sure that, I don't get bucked off in the process.
Well, it's been a little while since we last spoke, Colleen, and you talk about your children. I'm sure they've grown enormously. How old are they now?
My eldest is 17 and a senior in high school, and my youngest is 11, almost 12, and has just started her first year of middle school. So they have definitely both been growing. They've not stopped that one yet. They're both still riding, and they're both doing quite well this year.
Well, that's fabulous, and obviously love being around horses. So that's your quote-unquote help, is it, in the barn?
Right now, yes. I decided that rather than just simply having bodies in my barn to help, I needed the right body in my barn and I needed the right attitude in my barn, because over the past few years, I've discovered that I really and truly function best in an environment that allows me to focus. And if I am concerned about the people around me, I don't focus on my issues that I need to keep in the forefront. So I've had some very good people come to help me, and I've got some very good friends right now that come and help when I'm in a pinch, or come and help when I need some of the big stuff. But I am, definitely in the process of looking for the right team member to fill in my barn. And, I know that the right one will come along, but it's definitely, I'm not just going to hire a body.
Right. So you're looking for a full-time professional groom or a working student? You can place an ad right here, Colleen.
Well, here's the thing is it's all going to depend. I mean, absolutely, I love having my working students because I can impart, knowledge that is a little different from everybody else. But I would love to have a professional full-time groom that actually wants to be a part of the team, that, isn't just an employee, that, and that's, I don't view the people that work with me as employees. They are really and truly members of the family. That's, and I want them to feel the same way, that they're not just working for the paycheck, that they're doing it because they feel like they're a member of the family and they feel like they actually get to have say and that they get to have, input, because they're absolutely an integral part of the team. And it's, they're not just in a supportive role. They are absolutely 100%. They're my horse's first line of defense. They're normally my horse's first voice. if I haven't heard it, I need somebody who's willing to hear it and let me know what's going on. And it's finding that right now, especially in this day and age, is very difficult because it seems like those that want to do it and that love doing it have been burned enough times that they just can't put themselves out there. And it's a shame because grooms are what make us upper level riders able to do our jobs and keep ourselves in the mindset in which we need to be in. So, they are absolutely the base that we build on.
And in terms of, obviously, the team, which is vital for all owners, sponsorship and owners, how many owners do you have and sponsors do you have right now on your team?
So I own the majority of my horses because I'm insane, but we are actually starting up an owners group that will allow people to buy in, and it's a little bit different than your typical, I own this horse, because I am putting a share of each one of my horses from my 4-year-olds all the way up through CR into this group. So it gives you a chance of, for a very reasonable yearly fee, of being able to say, I own part, I'm part of the group that owns these horses. And it's, I'm going to offer ownership credits. If I only get 10 owner slots, say for Kentucky, then I run a lottery and you put your name in that you want to have owner's credits at Kentucky, and I pull your name out of a hat and 10 people get to have owner's credits at Kentucky, and so on and so forth. Or, there's lots of different things that we're going to be doing. So that's actually new, and we are getting ready to actually launch that in the next few weeks. So I'm really excited about that because, again, I'm trying to create a community of like-minded individuals that want to be a part of something that they might not be able to afford. There's not a lot of people that can afford to have truly upper-level horses because we are in one of the most expensive sports that doesn't feed much back to us. So, and I also, I couldn't do it without my sponsors, and I don't take money from sponsors. I'm only sponsored by things that I truly believe in and that I truly use. So it's difficult for me, but it's easier because I can say I absolutely 100% use this and I absolutely 100% believe it, because it's not something that I'm being paid to say. Yes, they give me the merchandise, or yes, they give me the product and everything. But if I don't like it, I won't use it. And I'm either a gift or I'm, the worst person in the world, because I actually give feedback to people when I don't like something or when I do love something. So, I'm a double-edged sword. I can be great, or I can be a royal pain in the butt.
Well, going back to your owners club there, Colleen, is there a entry level for membership of that, and what price would that be?
No, so what it is I am doing shares into it, and we're actually doing it by invitation, but it's you can contact my husband and find out how to get an invitation to it. But the piece to it is that I made it affordable and I made it easy. It's a yearly buy-in for $1,000 a share. And if you want to do it one year and then don't want to do it the next year, then you just don't buy it the next year. So it's an easy in, easy out, rather than having to, for everybody having to sign all of this paperwork and all of this and all of that. And then if you decide you don't want to do it anymore, having to dissolve that partnership and go through all of this paperwork or find somebody to buy you out. I wanted a way that it was, one, affordable, two, that it was easy, because that was the one drawback that I saw to everything, is that, if you have a whole handful of owners and one of them either runs across a situation that they no longer can afford to do what they need to do or something, it's heart-wrenching that they've got to sell their shares, or somebody gets upset and they get mad and they try to take over. I can't lose my babies. I put my heart, my soul, my everything into my horses. And that was my biggest fear. And it's why my mom and I have worked so hard so that I own my horses. But now I want people to come along for the ride, because I have some of the most amazing, fantastic, friendly, just goofball horses that you could ever imagine that, I just love, and I'd love for other people to love them as well.
Right. Well, that's a wonderful, obviously, initiative. It's like a syndication, isn't it? But an owners club, and people can find out more about that on where? On your website, Colleen. Where would they go?
It's going to end up being on Facebook, and I'm going to put a small little blurb on my website as well, so that you can, if you don't do Facebook, because God knows I don't, that, it's accessible for everyone, not just people on social media. Okay. And there needs to be an easier way of doing things. And I've spent a number of years thinking about it. And there have been recently, all of a sudden, all these, owners groups that have popped up. And I just laughed, because I've been working on this for about 5 years, and I mentioned it to a couple of people and they've all run with it. So, I was like, hey, obviously I had a pretty good idea. So, it just puts a smile on my face, because occasionally I have a good idea.
Well, you have a good idea, and you just had a good weekend and a good few events with him. So the CR, as you call him, Covert Rights. So a little bit of a day off today for him, I assume, before you have to pick up the reins again and get him ready for Morven.
Yep. We turned him out last night when we got back from the show, and immediately upon turning him out, he stood up, spun around, squealed, and took off running like he hadn't actually had enough to do that day. Right. So, which makes my heart happy, because that means that he's feeling good. So, he'll have a very light day today and head back into work tomorrow. But, it's been a pleasure just bringing him back, because his entire attitude is just happiness. So,
well, there's nothing more satisfying than keeping the horses happy. Well, Colleen, congratulations again. That's a lovely win, and obviously you brought him back to form, and who knows what's next for him. But the very best of luck at Morven and at Fairhill this year, and onwards to Kentucky.
Excellent. Thank you ever so much.
Hi, I'm Nia Tapper, a proud WISP ambassador and a USA women's rugby player. I support WISP because they give a platform for women in sports to share their stories, celebrate the accomplishments of other women, and to empower the world through sport. I think it's important to turn up the volume on women's sports, because women are amazing, they are unstoppable, and they are capable of any and everything, and the world needs to know that. My name's Nia Tapper. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Nia Tapper, NAYATAPPER. Thanks for listening and supporting WISP.
And if you'd like to hop over to our website at wispsports.com and just drop down the listen menu to the horse show, you'll find all of the links to Colleen's social media and to her website, where you can find out more about the Owners Club. And whilst you're on our website, why don't you stop and take a look around some of the other shows that we do here and the coverage that we have of women's sports from around the world, and also catch up with our ambassadors who have a blog page there. Just go to the read menu and you'll find some great blogs from our athletes in so many different sports. And I also want to mention that now we have the capacity to have live podcasts thanks to Podbean, our podcast host. So we'll be doing that every week, starting with the news program that we have, where I co-host the WISP Sports Desk with Nancy Gillen. That's going to be out live every Wednesday. So stay tuned for that. And we'll be doing more live programming now that we have that capability. And those shows, if you miss them live, you can also find them archived on the website as usual. And of course, we'll be spreading the word on social media. I hope you'll join in the conversation on social media with us and follow and share at Wisp Sports. And if you'd like to reach us here via email, you can drop us a line to info@wispsports.com with any comments, questions, or suggestions you may have for any of the shows here at Wisp Sports. Until the next time, thank you for listening and helping us turn up the volume on women's sports.